Hey, this is Lela and Robin from VENUES, and you're watching Sonic Perspectives.
So, how are you guys both doing?
Awesome.
Yeah, all good over here. Very stoked.
Very nice, very nice. And I can be confident in that I know the answer to this question, but I'll definitely ask it anyway. How has it felt to be back on stage performing live after all this chaos?
Oh, well, we had I'd say a pretty soft start since our first two shows were online streaming shows. So we played just in front of cameras instead of real people. So yeah, it almost felt like a rehearsal, but yeah, a bit different. But I guess the first real show was awesome for us. I think it was a festival, Baden im Blut.
Yeah,
It
right.
was July 23rd, correct? Something like that?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
In southern
Nice.
Germany, and this was awesome since the people, they were allowed to run around. What's wrong with me? I'm sorry. Run around and dance and have a party in front of the stage. Yeah, we had another show 1 or 2 weeks later where they were all have to be seated, and the people were not allowed to stand up. So the festival in southern Germany was pretty awesome, and it felt like, yeah, Corona wasn't existent. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very different over here from country to country. Like even from city to city, everyone is handling it a little bit different. So yeah, every show a new experience for us.
It's really nice to see that Europe is opening up and there are live shows happening again. Of course, in places like the Czech Republic, there's a lot of stuff going on. Even in the Netherlands, there's lots of shows happening as well. It's nice to see that, you know, bands are getting back out there, and there are certain measures being taken to make sure that live music can happen again. I think it's really cool. But in the way of performing, it must be really fun to, of course, be able to play all of your new material. And I guess in the way of that, I'd like to ask with Solace, of course, your second full-length album for VENUES, and of course the first full length for yourself, Lela. Can you tell the viewers what Solace is all about? Like, what do you want listeners to understand about this new album?
So there's nothing like it's not an concept album or something like that, but there's a red line that leads through all of the songs, and it's almost every song is about moving on, leaving stuff behind that no longer suits you, and just opening new chapters. And I think we wrote the thing while during the first lockdown. We started songwriting during the first lockdown, and so the whole feeling of this whole pandemic stuff going on just kind of, I would say it kind of influenced us while writing, and we all wanted to find some light at the end of the tunnel, and writing that album just was a big solace for us and gave us that hope that we were searching for. And I think this is the feeling that we want the people to understand, and we want them to get into the same feeling of knowing that there's going to be better days.
I guess when I was listening to the album, and I must say that, you know, I felt so privileged to be able to listen to it before it came out, because as soon as I finished it, I thought, man, people are going to be so excited for when it gets released. Like, it just rocks from front to back. It's just a fantastic collection of songs. And part of the name for Solace for me was almost like the band has just found this perfect sound, like this perfect balance between heavy and melodic. And I feel like maybe the band, when Lela joined, maybe there was like this kind of feeling of Solace when they said, okay, we're complete, like this is us. So it's yeah, it was just a really, I think it just felt so complete, and it felt so, yeah, fulfilled in a way. But and I guess with the songs, I wanted to ask what the writing process was for the band as a whole. Like, is there a starting point, or does it change from track to track depending on what kind of ideas that come about?
Yeah, actually, I think Uncaged Birds was the first song, because we wrote this one back in the middle of 2019 and recorded it by the end of 2019, I think. And this was like the first test for us as a new band, like with new members with the current lineup, to see if we really can work together when it comes to writing songs, but also producing and recording songs, to be together in the studio and really work pretty productive on the song from morning till evening. And I think the result was pretty awesome, and we were very happy with this first song. So yeah, we had our proof that this new lineup really works and that we are all totally happy with it. And so I think then we had a big date for the studio in April 2020, but then Corona hit us and we had to postpone the whole timing until the midst of August. To record the rest of the 9 songs. And until then, we only had 1 song recorded and produced. But I think for the whole record, this was a good thing because we had more time to work on like the details and polish some stuff here and there. But yeah, I think these were some quite very well productive months during these months. So it really made the record better.
And
Yeah,
so,
we should say that.
oh, sorry, forgive me.
Yeah, it's okay. The process of songwriting was a bit different this time because we were not able to meet in person, and there was no chance to meet up in the rehearsal room and jam around. So everyone had to record their ideas at home and send them over to the next one. So it was a bit challenging, but I think we made the best out of it, and it worked pretty well.
It can be, I can imagine that can be either frustrating or quite nice at times, because you can either be trying to communicate an idea to a member and it's like, no, I kind of mean like this, but then you can also have the space to then come up with some nice ideas. So I guess it can potentially work both ways. But it sounds like you went into the studio with a fair few ideas before actually getting them produced. So I guess and you went back to Christoph from And It's Okay, I believe. Yeah. That's nice. He obviously knows exactly, guys, how you guys work, and he just bolstered that with a lot more power this time around, which was really cool. How much contribution did he actually put into the writing process, or was it literally just, here's all of our songs, let's just make them for you guys?
Actually, when we hit the studio, the songs were, I would say, had like 95% finished. And only like some small tweaks where we thought, should we do it like this or should we do it like that? But then we just showed them all to Christoph, and he just gave it a few spins and came up with a few small ideas, changed like small stuff here and there. But like these small changes often have a big impact usually on the song. Like if you change a little note here, the whole song gets a different vibe, if you know what I mean. And usually he's awesome in doing stuff like this. So
that's really nice.
He's always our man of choice when it comes to producing and checking our songs out.
Cool. And was there a specific song that when you finished it, you felt the best? Like, was there a song that once you kind of sorted it and said, yeah, that's the one, you went, okay, that's cool, like I'm so glad that one's polished and like just sounds as good as I wanted it to? Or was that just the whole album?
I think I was absolutely happy with Mountains, but to be honest, the song already sounded awesome before the polishing. But I think for me, Rite of Passage had like a big turn, because when we hit the studio, I was like, it's really not one of my favorite songs. It's okay. But then we really gave it a very modern touch in the studio, like with the synthy stuff and the chorus melodies and things like this. And in the end, I ended up like, wow, okay, now it's a really cool song and I really like it. So this was it for me.
And for you, Lela?
I'd say the same. Well, Mountains was my favorite song, even before we hit the studio. Same as Robin said. And with Rite of Passage, it was the song that we had to work on the most. and I struggled with this one for a long time with the Rite of Passage, and yeah, but the outcome of the song after hitting the studio was awesome. So yeah, it turned out to be our first single. So
Yeah, that's always promising when you finish that and you go, yeah, that's the one, that's it.
Yeah.
And how did it feel going into the studio for you? Of course, this was your first time recording a full length with the band, recording, I guess, anything of like a major proportion. So how did it feel? Was it nerve-wracking? Was it exciting? Was it both?
Oh, it was absolutely exciting, and we spent 2 weeks there in the studio, and I guess the whole time was awesome. Just to spend time with the boys and to get together as a band and get closer to each other as a band family, if you say so. And yeah, it was pretty exciting. Also, I learned so much from Christoph and from the whole recording process. Like Robin said, those little small changes, just changing one tone, has an impact of the whole vibe of the song. So that was pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to the next time already.
Yeah, very nice. And actually, I was going to ask about that. I was going to ask, has there been something that you've discovered about your own voice whilst you were in studio recording? Has there been something that you kind of realized that you could do, or that there's some ability that you could actually employ that you had never tried before, potentially because of Christoph, or even just from experimenting yourself whilst recording?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not really while recording, but it started in the songwriting, songwriting process, because I never really sang in those high pitches like I do on the new album. So that was pretty new for me, and I really had to work on my voice a bit and try out how to get those high notes. And now, I got more and more confident with that, and so this definitely opened a new door for me in my vocal world. Yes.
Yeah. And how long have you been singing? Because I mean, some of those notes are just exceptional. I mean, when you on Into the Fire, when you get like just before the guitar solo happens, like that thing just makes me want to like run through a brick wall. It's just incredible. So I mean, have you been singing for a really long time, or was it just a talent that you amazingly picked up quite easily?
And I've been singing since I was born, so to say. So my whole family is very musical, so I grew up with singing and playing instruments, and
Very nice. And it's a blues background in singing, is that correct?
Yeah, kind of. I did some blues rock stuff, so acoustic blues rock. Yeah.
And who's been your biggest influence for singing as you've developed your voice?
My biggest influence from back when I was a child was Janis Joplin. So I always wanted to be like her. And then, for example, Steven Tyler, of course, but also Christina Aguilera. I listened to her a lot when I was a child. Yeah.
That's fair enough. And I believe that your Caravan makes a guest appearance in the Mountains video clip. So I'm taking it that you're like a major travel bug. You've got the travel bug at least.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And is there like a dream destination that you'd like to go to, or have you already been to that dream destination?
Not really. I haven't been there, but there is not really a dream destination. I just want to be as much on the road as possible and to see as many places as possible. Yeah, with the band, absolutely, of course, with the band. Best thing would be to tour the world and see the world while making music with VENUES would be the absolute dream.
Yeah. Well, I think that'd be a pretty fantastic way to spend your time. But and look, speaking of making music, Robin, the vocals that you've been putting forward in this latest album, they've been a slight, but they've been an incredibly positive change. I mean, I guess with the previous album, with Aspire, they were just wild. They were powerful and they were crazy and they were wild. But then this album, they're so focused and they're so aggressive, and they've just got this really composed kind of feeling about it. I mean, is this something that you've been actively experimenting with, or has this been like a natural development of your voice over the past 3 years?
Yeah, actually that was a pretty big step for me, because I completely changed my whole technique, how to do extreme vocals. And to be honest, I really mastered this new technique a few months before we hit the studio. But yeah, I was practicing a lot. I think I practiced like 2 hours every evening and really put a lot of effort and energy in it to finally understand how to do this. And it's so much easier and sounds better, and it's like way more consistent, I'd say. And it's meanwhile it's pretty easy for me to do it. So I'm very happy that I've done this and I changed the technique. And yeah, I'm very glad that you like the new sound of my vocals.
Very much. They're incredibly powerful, and I guess it's a really nice contrast, of course, to Leila's clean vocals. And when they go back and forth, like I guess in Mountains, of course, there's just this amazing symbiosis between the two sounds, and I think it's just a really nice evolution. But what drove the change from the previous vocal style to the new one? Was it kind of like you realized that maybe you wearing yourself down, or was it just you wanted to change your sound? What was the reason behind it?
Yeah, I think there were more reasons. One thing was that I think in this like core sound where our music is more or less, a lot of the vocalists are doing like this technique because it just is it fits better to clean vocals, and it's not like very hard contrast here. And the next big point for me is are the live shows, because with the old technique, it really killed me on the live shows, like not the vocals, but my whole body. And I was like, wow, I felt like I did sport for like 2 hours. Like it's like the whole body was involved in this technique. And now with the new technique, it's pretty chill for me because it's way more technical, and you can really focus on doing it on a solid way, and you don't waste a lot of energy with this technique. And it's I have just more energy to play around and run around and do a cool show. So really it was a big goal for me.
And I guess when you're performing live, do you have a new warm-up now? Do you warm up before the show, or even just before recording? Or is it kind of like you've just got this technique down so comfortably that you can kind of just go straight off the bat?
Yeah, actually I do a lot of warm-up stuff, and I really take this serious because I don't want to harm my voice in any way, and to get the full potential on every show and also on the recordings. So yeah, I have like all that like stuff with the lip rolls and all that stuff. I think every vocalist knows this. And I think I do it like for half an hour, sometimes an hour, just to be 100% safe with having everything warmed up here. Awesome.
And in that development from your old vocals to the new vocals, did you have some kind of artist that you were using as an influence, or some kind of foundation to work off, or was it you just kind of experimenting yourself and just seeing what sounds came out at the beginning?
Yeah, to be honest, I had a lot of like the core artists that were my goal to maybe sound like them. I mean, I'm still far from them, but I think it's already going in the right direction. Bands like Polaris or Our Hollow, Our Home, which are like great vocalists, very powerful and very solid technique. I'd say like the common, or maybe also Eminence. Eddie Burke has like awesome shout vocals and also clean vocals. So
nice. Yeah. And in Mountains, you mentioned, I think there's a lyric that says something like, been on my mind ever since Salinger died. I'm guessing that you're referring to J.D. Salinger?
Yeah, correct.
Because he passed away in 2019, I believe. Something like that. So I'm taking it that you're a massive book lover, or at least love his books.
Yeah, at least like Catch on the Rye.
Catch on the Rye. Okay, very nice.
Yeah,
and if there's one book that you could recommend to the viewers, is there one that you'd be able to point out?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Go read this one.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, look, that's all I had. I just wanted to thank you both for your time very much for chatting to me. There's I believe you guys have a whole bunch of merch and a bunch of vinyls available as well.
Sure.
Yeah,
we have like a lot of stuff, and shipping worldwide, so come and support us. We are like totally thankful for every help.
Yes, Awesome. Well, thank you guys very much, and yeah, we'll see you next time.
Thanks
Yeah,
for having
thanks
us.
for having us. It was awesome.
All right.
Never ending.